Thank you for joining today's live training and Q&A session. My name is Helen Berkowitz. I'm a Senior Marketing Manager here at PractiTest. I'm going to just go over a few housekeeping and a little bit introduction about PractiTest and then hand things over to Antony. As you know, today we're going to be speaking about the new Issues UI, so we have a lot to go through and we are ready to get started. Okay, welcome again to today's live training and Q&A session. For those who may be a little bit new to PractiTest or unfamiliar, I just wanted to go over a little bit more about who we are and what we do. And by the way, we are recording today's session, so you can come and revisit it at any time. For those who wanted to join and were unable to meet with us today, they'll be able to go and see this on our YouTube channel as well. Okay, so a little bit about PractiTest. We started in 2008, primarily as a SaaS platform focused on a unique core architecture to help our clients streamline and simplify the testing process. Over the years, we evolved more into a test orchestration company, bringing everything into a single platform. And over the years, and most recently, today, we have enabled a number of AI-focused capabilities that really help our customers take the guesswork out of testing, transform labor-intensive, time-consuming testing into more an automated time savings process. We've established ourselves as a strong leader in this space. We really pride ourselves in helping our customers deliver their high-quality software faster to meet their own consumer demand. We put a lot of thought and planning into making the PractiTest platform as user-friendly as possible, which you'll see more of in just a moment. And of course, we've worked hard to include a number of privacy and security standards into our platform to protect and secure your data and your customers' data. We are trusted by hundreds of customers across the spectrum of industry and business sectors from, of course, software and technology, but alongside that with healthcare, finance, education, publishing, retail, and many others. And in fact, they give us a lot of consistently positive feedback about the high ROI that they receive, the world-class support that they gain from PractiTest, and many others. After today's session, you'll receive an email with a recording of today's talking points, and we're also offering a gift card for the first 20 users who publish a review of PractiTest on G2 Crowd. So we'd appreciate you sharing your thoughts and experience using PractiTest. Just a couple of upcoming events we thought you'd like to join us for, and we invite you to go ahead and sign up for those as well. You might be familiar with the State of Testing report. It just was published a couple of weeks ago. This brings many insights and testing trends in the community into one snapshot of what's happening in the world. So we're going to be deep diving into those insights with a roundtable discussion next Wednesday, April 3rd. And a couple of weeks later, Lisa Crispin will be leading our next webinar series about how to identify and reduce cognitive bias inside of testing. So you're welcome to join us for either or both of those sessions. We'd love to have you. And just to give you a little heads up that on April 10th will be our next live training and Q&A session, really focused on maximizing the value that you gain with using PractiTest. So moving on, today's agenda, just to give you a little bit a heads up of what Antony's going to talk about. So he's going to go over the issues module, both in standalone mode and with a bug tracker integration, how to use the issues tracker in hybrid mode, why you should want to use it that way and the benefits that you can see, how to use it with Jira, and there will be time at the end for your questions and feedback. Really excited to have you experience the new Issues UI, and please do feel free to go ahead and let us know what you're seeing. If you have any questions or need any help with anything, reach out at any time. Without further ado, I'm going to hand things over to Antony and enjoy today's session.
Okay, thank you, Helen. So let me just share my screen. Hopefully it will behave a little bit better than Helen's did. There we go. And hopefully you should now be able to see my screen. Please feel free to, you don't need to wait for the end to have questions and answers. Please feel free to either stick something in the QA, raise a hand, yell at me. at any time you like during the session, and I'll be happy to try and answer your questions. What we're going to talk about today primarily is the issues module. And the issues module has many uses to it, from the obvious of being able to simply create issues from tests which fail, to being able to do all sorts of other things. And we'll try and talk a little bit about the various opportunities and the value that the issues module can give. Many people work with issues from Jira and use Jira or another bug tracker to manage their issues. But there are still uses for PractiTest at the same time. And we'll talk about that a little bit as well. But I'd like to go back to basics to start with and take it from the point of view of, let's assume that you're using PractiTest as your test management system, as a standalone system. You're not using any integrations, and you want to use your issues module within PractiTest to create issues when there are bugs in your system and there's a problem. Then you can do it within PractiTest and connect it, use the full power of the traceability of PractiTest to manage your issues and maintain them within PractiTest. So you should be able to see my screen at the moment. I'm in the test sensor runs module, not in the issues module, funnily enough. And I'm going to perform a run of a test. And when we do that test, I'm going to find the failure in that test, and then we're going to create an issue for it. So here we are, here are my tests, and I'm going to run a test over here. Click the run button, off it goes, it runs the test, and it tells me what to do. It tells me to do this. The expected result is this. The actual result was, yes, that's quite correct. Sad essay. Then we can move on to step 2, but in this case, the result was something different, and therefore it's going to be an issue. I'm also going to attach a file, because this is a new feature that we have within the system, that if I attach a file over here, then when I attach it, then it will appear in my issue automatically for me. So here we are. I've got a test which I've run. And in the olden days, when I used to do QA testing, I used to groan at this point, because then I had to write up my issue. I had to go to, whether it was Jira or another system, write up my issue, spend 5 minutes writing it up, make sure that my developers were able to reproduce it. I'd written up my steps correctly. I hadn't cut them down too much. I made it very clear what I'd done, and then log my issue, attach my evidence, etc., and then get it to run. But now, if I'm using PractiTest, all I have to do is, let's make this step pass, and let's make this one fail, and click the fail and issue button. And when I click the fail and issue button, it will go to the issues module and create a new issue for me. It gives me the name, bug reported from test feature B part 2, which was my test name. And then it says step number 2, part 2B has failed. It was step 2. The step description was this. The step expected result was this. And the step actual result was that. Here are the following steps to reproduce the issue. Part 2A, part 2B, done. And there we have a beautifully reproduced issue written for you immediately. Now, by default, there are some fields here which we can use. We've got the status. And so when we've got the status, we can say we want to add it to the task board. If we want to, we've got a Kanban board that we can put it to. We can choose our users, who it's assigned to. Well, I better assign it to me, not someone else. But you would assign it to the development team, unless, of course, you've got a more complicated method of running your issues that it might need verification. So you could assign it to the verification person who's going to approve it and put it into the flow. And then we've got some fields. And these are custom fields of mine. This one over here, the type, is a system field, but you don't need to see it. You can delete it. You can change the values within it if you want to as well. We've got this defect enhancement and task over here. This is going to be a defect because it's a bug. You could call it a bug if you wanted to. You could just change the name of it to bug in the settings, the project settings for the field if you want to. And then I've got a couple of compulsory fields. I've got a component. So I'm going to say it's CompZA, team, Yeah, let's have a team. Priority. These are all custom fields that you choose. Here we are. I'm going to choose, it's going to be a high priority bug. And then if I need to, I can add other custom fields if I want to as well. Now, note along the side over here, we've got 6 similar issues already existing. So what I could do over here is I could examine this and then discover maybe that the issue already exists. And if the issue is already existing, I can check through them, see what I've got over here. I can even click on it, open link in new tab and go and have an inspection of it. And then if it turns out that I don't need to create a new issue because the existing issue already is there, instead of creating the issue, I could just go back in here, ignore this, and then go back to my run and link existing issue with its ID over here, rather than creating a new issue. But in this case, the issue is here, so I'm going to create it and continue testing. Oh, I forgot to fill in one of the fields. There we go, comp ZA. And I need to click apply. And once I click apply, I can do continue testing. And there we go. It's created it for me over here. And you'll see over here, there's the bug, the linked issue. It's been added to my run over here. And now I've got a link traceability over here. So if I go back to the test set now, and I look at Halloween requirement in my test set in the grid, you'll see that my Halloween over here, let's go and pull across. You can see I've got my run over here, feature 2 part B, and here we are. Here's my linked issue here. And you can see it showed in bold because that means that it's existing in this latest run. So in the run which is current, the current run, it exists, therefore it's shown in bold. If it was not in bold like this, then that would mean that it was in a previous run. So out of interest, let's just take a look at this. Open feature B part 1 over here, this particular instance over here. And you'll see that my current run 80 is bold, and that's because it's here. It also shows me the status of the issue. And then down at the bottom, it says bug reported from test feature run B. And you see this is a previous run. That's why it's not appearing in bold. That's why it's appearing to be in a normal text rather than bold text, because it's a previous run. You can also see the current statuses, as I said over here. So let's just go back to our latest issue, and we're going to go straight into the issue itself, and by clicking on it, linked issue, and here we are, we're inside the issue over here. So I look inside my issue, which I just created a couple of moments ago, and you'll see that we've got the status now set to new, and I can change the statuses. But when I change the statuses, you see only certain statuses are available, and they'll be different as I go through the workflow. And that's because PractiTest has its own setup of a workflow. So if I click on the project settings, I can then see I've got an option for workflow over here. And this is my issues workflow. And you'll see the default statuses, which the system has to have because there isn't a trash can next to it, are new, fixed, hopefully, because that's the general idea, and closed. Any other statuses can be added or removed at will. And in addition to that, you'll see that we can do transitions, and we can set different transitions from new to open to rejected to under review, and we can build a complete flowchart of exactly the transitions that we want to be available for each particular status, and draw a circular argument and take them through each of these. In addition to that, we can not only choose what transitions are available, but which user groups are allowed to make those transitions. So at the moment it says for all groups over here. If I want to make it just administrators, I can click over here, add, and then it will say for administrators only. If I want to add demo as well, I can add the demo group. And then this particular transition will be available to administrators and demo group as well. If it's not available, if I don't want it to be available for administrators, for example, for some strange reason, I can remove it over here. Then it will only be available for demo group. And now if we go back to that issue, which we were on, so if it goes from new, you will not see opened because I am an administrator. So let's just go back to the issues module a moment. Let's take our new issue number 83 and just click on it. We're now in issue number 83 over here. And if I want to go to the status and change it, you'll see that, refresh the screen, that, oh, I must be in other groups as well. But if I was only in the admin group, then I would not any longer have the ability to move it from new to opened, because I would have taken that permission away from that particular group. So you've got the ability to manage the transition statuses, who's allowed to do them, which groups are allowed to do them, and completely manage the whole flow in PractiTest of all of the statuses. Now, once you've tested it, the developers are going to work on this, and they're going to be brilliant developers, and they're going to fix it very fast. So they're now going to write a note over here. Fixed with commit. And here we go. There we go. And now they're going to save their changes. This is must be a CompZA. This field is required. Why does it still require that? Okay, save. There we go. Issue saved. And now that we've got this, you can see that we've added this information. We can write a comment if we want. Fixed, please retest. Whoops. Please retest. And then we're going to add comment. And we're going to change the status of the bug over here. Let's go to our status. And we're now going to go to opened and under review. You have to make sure the flow. I didn't check the flow. Okay, let's say it's rejected. I should have fixed over here, shouldn't I? Maybe I took away the permissions values for fixed. So under review, okay, so we're going to say under review is going to be fixed in this case. Click save. Yes, I did save my components, thank you. Save. There we go. And now we've got it in over here. And I'm going to go back to the grid and show you that the field is now set to under review. Now, how am I going to know which tests need to be retested? Because I've got over here a whole list of things. I could have different statuses. I could put in an under review over here, and then I'll see what's in under review. There's only one. But what I could do is I could do a general filter over here, and I'm going to set it with under review, to set it to under review. And then when it's under review, I'll know that it's time for me to retest it. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to find my fixed filter. Let's have a look at my fixed filter. There's nothing showing in it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to set it last 2 days, and status is edit filter. I'm going to do last 2 days and status is under review. There we go. Click on that. And now what I can do is I can just come along here every day, check this filter to see what's fixed, and then I'll know what I need to retest. Now, I don't have to go back looking for the test set, looking for the test instance to retest it. All I have to do is open my issue and then go to the traceability tab. In the traceability tab, I can see I've got my run over here. I've got my test case, and I've got my test set that it's in. So I'm going to go to the run over here and click on the run. And that will take me into the run. Now, obviously, I'm not going to change a run which has already been done. So all I do is I go back 1 level to the instance by clicking on the instance, save and run now, and then it will create for me a new run. And this time, it's all going to work perfectly. I'm going to click pass all steps. Okay. And once I've clicked pass all steps, then I'm not going to see my issue anymore, because if I look at my instance now, over here, you can see that we've got the pass step. The previous run has the bug now. If I go back to the test set, you'll see that instead of being bold, it's now stopped being bold. There we go, no longer bold. And now the only thing I have to do is click on my issue over here and change its status to closed, maybe write another note on it. So if I go to general, now I can write a note and say over here and say fixed with commit, retested and fixed. There we go. And then I could set my status, assuming that I had the correct statuses. I could then use my statuses and get my status to closed. And once it's closed, it's no longer considered to be a live issue. I could write a comment on it if I wanted to as well. So I can put all of this information into the system, give it all of this information which I need. Okay, so that's the basic flow using PractiTest as your test management system. But you also have the ability to use PractiTest in line with other systems as well. So for example, you can use it in line with Jira and sync it with Jira, and you can do it with other systems like DevOps, etc. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move to another project which is integrated with Jira. Going to move to here. Okay, and the project which I need to move it to is this one, which is integrated with Jira. And I'm going to go same as again before, like I did before, and we're going to go to the module of the runs. And here I have a scripted test, and I'm going to run this scripted test. System support interactive graphs. Here we go. It's had quite a lot of failures. And now I'm going to run it again. Click the run button. And here we are, happy days. Days are happy. They are. Pass that step. Move on to the next step. Hello all at once. Computer says hello all. It does. And then the next step. Hello all. Goodbye says goodbye. It says go away. That's a fail. And now this time, because I'm in a different project now, which is connected to Jira, when I click the fail and issue button over here, it will offer me either an inner issue or a Jira issue. This can be configured so that it will only offer Jira issues and it will immediately create a Jira issue for you. I've got it set in a hybrid state so that I can create either. So I'm going to click on Jira issue over here, and it brings up a modal box. And this modal box will contain information which I need to create the issue directly in Jira. So I've got the project, and I've got a selection of a couple of projects over here. You can put multiple projects in here so that they'll appear here. Just if you don't need features or tasks, then you don't have to do that. You just do it as a bug. Then it will supply a name for you, bug reported from tests. It should support interactive graphs. This is all editable. If you don't want to have bug reported from test, there we go. System should support interactive graphs. Same description, step number 3. Hello, all live training, da-de-dum. Here's the information over here. And then priority is major. These are the Jira priorities, not mine, not the PractiTest ones. This has pulled the information from Jira. And similarly, the assignee is also pulled from Jira as well. And then I'm going to click Create Issue in Jira Cloud. Now, what it's going to do is it's going to go straight to Jira, and it's going to create this issue directly in Jira. I could just now click Close, and I could continue testing. But let's show you the issue within Jira, because there's an option to, and I click on it over here where it says here. Aha, I've been logged out of Jira. That's nice. There we go. And it's letting me into Jira, I hope. And there we are. So step number 3, here's my issue created in Jira. Step description was goodbye. Step expected result was it says goodbye. It actually said go away. Following steps to reproduce. You'll see that the assignee has been filled in. The reporter has been filled in as me because it has to be, there's no impersonation here. You have to use your own users. And then down here, we've got priority minor, which I set as well. In this page, you will see a PractiTest integration panel. And the PractiTest integration panel will show you the test run. It will show you the run date, and it will show you the run status and the tester and test traceability as well. If I click on this little arrow, it will show me which step failed. Do second. Hello live training. These are the steps which passed. They're in green. The one which failed is in red. I can write a comment over here. And it will sync into PractiTest. Click Save. Let's go back to PractiTest over here. And when I refresh the screen, it syncs a copy, a read-only copy into PractiTest. There we go. Let's just go over here and click on that. Here's my read-only copy in PractiTest. And it's got the status to do, time created, etc. And it's got my Jira fields over here. Assignee Jira, reporter Jira, priority Jira. Again, just viewing it over here. Yeah, I see we've got a couple of questions. Do notes on linked bugs show on the main test case? If you need to set up different filters, can you set them up at once or one at a time? Okay, so let's deal with both of these questions. Do notes on a linked bug show on the main test case? Okay, so the notes do not show on the test case itself, but the link to the bug does show on the main test case. Let's just go back over here. And if we go to our traceability, you'll see that the test over here shows the test number 9. Let's just go over that and let's just click over here. And you'll see this is the test case in the test library. And if I click on the test in the test library, you see we've got all our instances. This is all our different locations to run it. And then down here, we've got linked issues. And here's our linked issue showing with status under review over here. And if I click on it, it will take me straight into it. So then I can see my notes on it. So from the test case, you can click on the bug and it will take you into the bug. Same applies also with regard to the Jira integration as well. That if I'm in my Jira integration project over here and I click on my traceability, I can then see my test case as well. Click directly on my test case over here. Click the traceability button. And you'll see here is my Jira linked issues. And this is my newest one, 697 at the top. And you'll see also over here that you've got, we use the Jira IDs. We don't use our own IDs when we're creating Jira issues. So you've got all of the Jira issues over here as well. With regard to setting up different filters, if you want to set up complex and separate filters, you can, but we also have a thing called auto filters as well. And the auto filters, you can set up all of the values at once. So for example, we had a priority filter. So let's just go to new filter over here. And I can select auto filter to create a filter from the list. And I select which field I want to filter on. And then I can say priority Jira, for example. And you see, I can do 2 levels of filter. So I can then select a child auto filter to show, for example, type. So I've got, no, that's probably not a good one because I'm not going to be using that. I can do it by assignee, let's say. So if I click select child auto filter here and then create the filter, you'll see here we've got auto filter by priority and assignee. So if we look over here, we've got priority Jira. So we've got blocker, major, critical, trivial, minor, and you can see the numbers for each. And then if we click on this little arrow here, then we've got by assignee, and we've got the different assignees over here. And we can see how many each assignee has. If I don't want to show the 0 values, and because it's too many lines and I don't want to see all those lines, I can also set it by clicking the edit filter button here, go back into the filter, and we've got an option to hide empty autofilters. And when I do that, you won't see any 0 values over here. You'll just see the values which have things in them. So for example, the only assignee who's got over here is me. And then if I skip through over here, this one, priority major, we've got 3 people who have got assignees to them. So we've got 2 levels of autofilters there. Hope that answers the question. Please let me know if it doesn't, and I can answer further on that. So that's the use of Jira. And again, same sort of things as we did in the first system. When Jira updates, we could get Jira to update over here by, let's say, adding some information here, step expected result. And then I could say fixed now. Please retest. Save, and we'll change the status again to start review. Again, it would be a retest in reality. And now if we go to PractiTest now, we go back into PractiTest, and I've got a similar filter over here. So I've got a filter which says something along the lines of last modified in the last 12 hours. So here we go. Let's just check this one. And that's status in review, last modified in the last 12 hours. So I should find it in this filter, which I've created over here. Here it is. And I can go into it, open it up. And now you see I've got my card over here with the traceability. And I'm going to go back to the run. And I'm going to rerun it. So it tells me it's fixed. So I'm going to go back 1 level to the instance, create a new run. All very quick and easy, no searching, no brain work required here. And then from here, I'm going to rerun it, and I'm going to, again, pass all steps. If it failed with the same issue, I could do link existing issue and just put in DPP 697 over here and just link it to step. If it was a new bug, then I do fail an issue again and close off the old bug. So all the options very quickly available over here. So you see the bug doesn't exist anymore. So if we look at the instance, here we go. And over here, the instance now doesn't have the bug in it, set to in review. We need to close it. So we've got it open anyway, so I could just click it and open it. But just to show you how you do it if it wasn't open, you go back to the general tab. Always in PractiTest, when it's synced with an integration, you will always find a one-touch link to take you straight to the issue in the integration. You click on that, and that takes you to the issue in the integration. Here it is over here. And now, finally, I can set it to done, closed, and done. It's now finished with. And the only thing I want to do now is put an extra note on here saying retested and fixed. Save. And then if I go back in to look at it in PractiTest, DPP 597, let's click the refresh button. You'll see the comment which was written from Jira on it. That if I wanted to write another comment in the general tab, you'll see retested and fixed. I wrote it on top of the other line. Oh, well, let's put it the right way round. There we go. Fixed now, please retest, Control X. Let's just move it to where it should be. Control V, there we go, click saved. And now if we go to PractiTest and click the refresh button, there we go, retested and fixed. So that's the flow using Jira. It's very similar both to PractiTest and Jira. So having said that, we've shown the value of using PractiTest to have your bugs, even if they exist in Jira as well. It's much better to have this synced copy in PractiTest because you don't have to go searching for the traceability to run it, to rerun it. You can just click on the traceability tab over here and then go to your run over here. And so you can connect it straight to your run and execute your run straight away with it and rerun it from here. So that's one value. The other thing is that you can track more easily the bugs which you have in PractiTest rather than amongst all the other information which is in Jira. So you see it's now disappeared from this display because there are no more bugs which are ready to be retested, because it's now been moved to the done status. If we look at all issues, you'll see it's now showing as done. So there we go. This is the PTs, there's the DPPs, 697. If I want, I can have a filter to show it by DPPs and PTs separately. That I can do as well. So I can create filters for both of them so that I'll only see the ones which I want to see. So that here we are. For example, there's PT. If I show you what the filter contains, then external ID is PT. So that will show all the PT bugs, but not the DPPs. And I could do a DPP filter like I've done over here, which again shows name is DPP. ID, external ID is DPP. So this shows me only the DPP bugs. And at the same time, I'm showing that a much easier management system than searching for things in Jira, just using the last modified, which gives me when their status has been updated and it's ready for retest. So I'm able to get value from PractiTest here in the issues module, even though we have Jira operating as well. And another benefit, of course, of PractiTest is that you can create charts as well, dashboard charts. So I've got dashboards over here which contain information from the issues module, including statuses and issues age, how long issues have existed in various statuses. So I can put information about my high priority bugs, or I could use my fields from Jira and plot them against other fields in my issues module as, let's just do one, for example. Let's take over here. So show how easy it is. Entity issue. Let's do a distribution table and click continue. And I'm going to filter all issues, though I could use some of my filters if I wanted to. I could do it just for a particular type of bug. And I'm going to put, for example, priority. Let's get to be priority Jira. There we go. Against type, for example. So I can now see save dashboard item. And now you're going to see number of blockers, how many are defects, how many are enhancements, and how many are tasks. So I can put them all against each other over here, and you'll be able to see each type that we've used. Some more questions? Yeah, we talked about that on the main test case. Yep, perfectly answered, thanks. Oh, okay, right. Okay, so we've talked about using PractiTest alone. We've talked about using Jira alone. What about a hybrid scenario where you saw that I had the ability to create inner issues, I have the ability to create Jira issues at the same time in this particular project. I've set it up that way. Why would I want to be creating a mixture of Jira issues and PractiTest issues? And I came across this relatively recently as a use case with one of our customers. And that was that they said that Jira, and I believe this is true in most cases, Jira is not controlled by the QA department. It's controlled by dev. And so with power and responsibilities, there becomes a pressure not to put things into Jira, which dev doesn't want to see there. And so in that case, what you can do is you can create issues in PractiTest before you know that dev is willing to accept them. So for example, let's go back to our little scenario. We've got our test here. We're running our test over here. No, that's not the one I want. Here we go, scripted test. Let's run this test. So we're going to run this test. Save and run now. Here we are, log in with username, ddum. This broke as it logged me in with BW, that. Okay, so now I'm going to click fail an issue. Now I don't know that dev is ready to accept this. So I'm going to create it as an inner issue in PractiTest. So here we are, I create it over here. I don't have any information which I need to fill in. Nope, so I'm just going to assign it to myself for the moment and keep it there in mind. So I click create. Oh, priority is a mandatory field, is it? Okay, fine. Let's do that. Continue. Create. I don't see it being a priority Jira as blocker. Where's my priority? Status. There we go. Sorry, that's it. Okay. See, I've been messing around with this. So there we are. We've created the issue now. It's sitting in PractiTest. Supposing now I get permission to create this issue in Jira. I don't have to copy and paste it or do anything else. All I have to do is go to the 3 dots at the bottom over here and then click create issue in Jira. And what's going to happen now, watch this issue ID, it's now issue 139. When I click the create issue in Jira, it's going to take the, bring up my modal box as before, and I can select my project, etc. Create issue in Jira. Let's give it an assignee of me, create. And once I create it in Jira, you see it's no longer 139 and it's become DPP 698. And you can see it there by clicking on the issue number. And it's now being created in Jira. So what we've done is we've been able to maintain control of this issue until it's ready to be created in Jira. And this was a use case. And before this, they weren't able to create issues because they couldn't create them in Jira. So they probably had to put them on a spreadsheet or something like that. Whereas here, you can create the issue immediately in PractiTest. And then once you've done that, you've created it in PractiTest, then you can create it in Jira when you're allowed to and promote it up to Jira whenever you're allowed to. A similar sort of vein is that you might have issues which you never want to put in Jira. And at the same time as they're accepting issues in certain circumstances, you may say, well, I can't put it into Jira. Maybe it's not reproducible or something like that. But I do want to have some record that this issue existed and I spotted it, or that there was a need to be able to record it. You don't have to put it into a spreadsheet. You don't have to write it on a sheet of paper and then lose the sheet of paper. You can now put it into PractiTest as a PractiTest issue rather than the Jira issue. And maybe sometime in the future, when you can reproduce it, then you can promote it to Jira, or at least you just keep control of it and you keep it in your own project in PractiTest rather than actually putting it into Jira. So you have this ability to keep a control of the QA process and not have to pander to the needs of the development team. You can still keep control of your bug tracing process by keeping stuff in PractiTest as well and not needing to copy and paste it into Jira later. Just at the touch of a button, you can add it to Jira if you want to later. So that's the main reasons for maintaining a hybrid system. I'm sure you can think of other issues as well. But those are 2 of the main reasons why you might want to maintain a hybrid system. Okay. I'll come back to that, Mark, in a moment. A nice one. Yeah, like it. Okay. So, right. I'll share with everyone in a moment why I'm laughing. It is Mark's come up with an off-topic question. I'll come back to it in a couple of minutes. I just wanted to talk briefly about one other aspect of the issues module. And that is, until now, we've been creating issues from runs. You can also create issues independently, not connected to runs at all. And for this, you might want to do it as its own project, for example. And there are various uses that you might want to use the issues module for completely independently of anything else. So you can just click the new issue button, and then it will create you a blank issue, no traceability, no connections to anything else, just in here. And a couple of obvious cases for it is that and these are cases that we've seen in PractiTest with customers. Firstly, you might want to use it as an issue management tool for support. Support could have a project in PractiTest where they just use it as a bug tracker. So somebody phones in a bug, they can then write it down over here, create a bug for it. There are other people who have used it even connected to support desks. So if you have a support desk program like Intercom or Freshdesk, using their APIs, you can then plug into the PractiTest API, create your issues, update your issues using PractiTest and management, connect them up to dev, and then you can have a project here which is going to manage issues with dev, and you don't have to ever do any testing on it. You can just do the issues as a service desk with the issue management tool here. You can create your workflows as we showed before, have your filters and your fields, and have basically a simple issue management tool of your own for managing support tickets, and use it for ticket management. So that is a use for PractiTest as well, using the issues module. And another one which we saw a customer using, they didn't have an ERP system. They used PractiTest issues module to manage certain aspects of their ERP system. So for example, they were doing purchase orders within PractiTest. And so they had a couple of fields with it, giving the status of the purchase order, what state it was in, and customizing those fields. You could have the particular lines. They obviously didn't need a fixed field. So what they did was they bypassed it. But you can create, for example, purchase order systems. And because PractiTest using the issues module is simply, you can use it simply as a database to contain any information that you want, whether it's purchase orders, support desk tickets, anything like that as well. And so that can become an extra value added aspect to the issues module as well. You presumably wouldn't want it in a testing project, but you can have as many projects as you like in PractiTest. So you could have, 5 testing projects and then 3 or 4 issue management projects where you only use the issue modules to use it for different aspects of the system as well. Let's just handle a couple more questions. I'm going to come back to you, Mark. Is it possible to create a bug in Jira and link it to a test case in PractiTest? Right, so I forgot to mention this. Part of the methodology of PractiTest is truth and evidence. And so the only time you can create a bug linked to a test case is via a run of that test case. So you actually have to run the test case first to be able to create a linked bug. As I said, that doesn't mean that you can't create issues, but you can't actually link an issue to a test case directly. What you would actually be doing to link to a test case, and this is a slightly different flow, but it does seem logical in a way. We've discussed this at various times, internally and externally with customers as well, that if the bug started its life in Jira before it came to PractiTest, then it might actually be a requirement, that it might be seen as a requirement. So the bug would be a requirement in that the requirement is to fix this bug. And then if you put it into PractiTest as a requirement, then you could link it to the test case. And so it becomes a requirement linked to the test case. The test case then has a run of it, and then the requirement is fulfilled by the test case, the run of the test case passing. So I think that would be the flow which would be more appropriate in that case. Finally, Mark, right, AI in PractiTest. Let's go back I'm not sure if it's enabled in this project. Yes, we have been delving into AI. So let me take you back to my own project in PractiTest rather than one of my bosses. And over here, I'm now back in my own project. And let's go to, because I'm pretty sure it's enabled here. Let's click new test. So I'm going to go to test library and I'm going to create a new test. Here we go, test name, login test for Gmail. There we go. And over here, you will see, if I click on steps, you will see that there should be an option. Let's just save it a moment. I think you might have to save it first. You test, oops. No, stay on page. No, that's not what I wanted to do. Save changes. There we go. And you'll see there's a button up here called SmartFox AI Assistant. Now, because we don't do the AI ourselves, it goes through OpenAI. You do have to accept the security limitations of it. We can't handle the sort of big data which will be necessary to run an AI test creation ourselves. So it goes through the classic examples. So if I click over the classic systems like OpenAI, and so you do have to give permission to send data to that. I'm going to click over here, generate steps. Did it allow me to do that? Why won't it? Oh, I need to click save changes first, apparently. There we go. Click on SmartFox. Why won't it do it? Generate steps is for scripted tests with a valid name and description. Oh, I forgot to put in the description. So hang on a sec. Let's put in the description. Login test for Gmail to reach my emails. There we go. Save changes, and let's give it a go now, see if it will let me do it. Whoop. Steps. Click on here, generate steps. There we go. Okay, here we go. Takes a moment to do it, but let's see what it comes up with. Yeah, I'm thinking if you try to fix an issue in Jira and you discover another bug in the process, thanks, you just answered my thought. Okay, there we go. Generate steps is done. And here we go. Open a web browser and go to Gmail website by entering that in the address bar. Enter the email address. Enter the email or phone number of your filled Gmail address. Click on next button after entering your email. Enter password. And enter the password field, input the password associated with your Gmail account. Click the next button after entering. The Gmail inbox should be displayed, indicating a successful login. And that was generated directly by AI. Now, if you want to try multiple passwords, the way we'd recommend you do that is by using parameters, step parameters. And we can do step parameters by adding it into this in Gmail or into your full Gmail address. And we can decide what it's going to be. And we do it by clicking double braces over here. And then we're going to do username. There we go, username, because I've already created these fields. If you want to create a new field, it will let you create a new field. Enter your password field, input the password. There we go. And I'm going to click over here, password. And I've already got some passwords set. Obviously, if it's going to be for this, then you're going to use that specific one. So save changes. I'm now going to create an instance for this and run it. And you'll see that it will allow me to put my passwords in. So if I click over here and then I go to test library again, I can then create a test set for it where I can execute it. because we don't execute test cases. This is off topic as well. We execute instances of test cases because the test cases we keep in the library and we want them to be reusable and to be maintainable. So we try and limit the number of test cases, and then in the test suites, we have lots of permutations of them. So create a test set. This is Gmail. Log in. There we are. Click create and close. No, I didn't want to close it. Why did I close it? That was an instinctive thing. So here we are. Let's click the run button. When I click the run button, it has no parameters on it yet. So I'm going to configure the steps with the parameters. Here's my username. Password is this is a drop-down list field, but this one's a text field I set it up as. So there we go. That's the password. Save parameters. And then when I click save and run now, it will give me the parameters. There we go. Log into Gmail. There we go. Username, enter your full email address, Antony. Then down here, if I go to the password, password is associated with your Gmail account, that. So that would be the way that you create your smart AI tests. And as you can see, it came out quite well with all the login instructions and told me exactly what to do over here. Okay, and it's now the end of the hour. So please feel free, if you're new prospects for you're new to PractiTest, if you'd like to take out a free trial, we have the option to take out a free trial on our website. And thank you for listening.